And then what's going to be left? There's going to be 45, 50, and 60-year-old veterans who still know how to fight, who've still got weapons buried, who will be ready to maybe when stuff's so bad and they're watching plagues rage and, billions die, they'll remember everything that was said. They'll know that the old-timers told them what was happening. They will engage the local computer centers. It'll be satellite backup. It's Terminator, folks. We're about to face it, okay? For real. And they'll take out some of those centers, and then they're going to have the big global robot armies directed by the UN and others are going to come in and try to dig us out. They're going to have nerve gas, bioweapons, everything else. They're going to try to mop up. Their main enemy, they're just preparing, is going to be the vets. Because it's only going to be combat vets working with scientists and people that are technocrats but who aren't evil are going to be in a huge war. It is going to be the most incredible war ever. And more I realize I just need to get ready and get people ready for the battle space. I need to just try to affect the future battle space. I'm not an enemy of the cops. I'm not an enemy of the military or the bureaucrats even. 95% of these people have no idea what's going on. But we're trained by sitcoms and movies that the SWAT team invincibly pulls up at your house to get the rebels. And they stack up at 3 a.m. And, you think bed bugs bite? Well, we're really going to bite you. If a real civil war breaks out, which I don't think they want to do right away, they want to have some smaller ones, just a beta test. You don't, and I'm not saying do this, I'm saying if you really were going to resist, you don't go out and engage the SWAT team. You don't go out and engage, notice their branding, you protest with the Soros money by shooting a cop in the head. No. When it all goes down, they're going to bomb the cops and stuff and said we did it, try to get them like a bunch of bees to come after us. And they will. Don't worry. And those of you that want some fight, you're going to get it with them. But the point is, it's the bureaucrats and the criminals and the leadership. In a war, you don't go for the grunts. You go for the big boys. And I'm not even talking about these puppet politicians. I'm talking about these globalists. We all know who they are. And there's millions of us in every major country that know the enemy, know we're in a science fiction movie, understand what's going on, and we're not going to give up. And when it really gets bad, you think people are awake now? When people know they got nothing to lose, that's why they're getting ready to go after the military incrementally. You're going to see this twisting, this demonization in movies and sitcoms and books where the vet's the bad guy. The vet releases the bioweapon. The vet does this, the vet does that. Because it's going to be those battle-trained groups, when they phase out the military and steal their pension funds and put them on death panels and no treat list, that are going to be there, that are going to form the fist that the pro-human intelligentsia in a death battle are going to throw at the enemy, just hoping humanity makes it. I mean, we're getting ready for the huge AI war, folks, up against an AI system wired into everything. It's already sentient. That's clear. It's already operating. You can, it was a couple years ago, looking at all the data, and everything suddenly shifted, and we were up against something so much more sophisticated. I saw everything shift at that point, and it's gotten worse. And by sentient, it doesn't think a sunset's pretty, folks. It's wired into everything we're doing. It's based on our brains, and it's learning off us. It's learning how to drive cars down the road. It's learning how to kill us. It's learning how to farm. It's learning how to, it's autonomous. It is autonomous, and it's sentient. And that's why all over the world, inoculations are forced now. All over the world, you can't have cash now. It's all going to start accelerating. My God, it's so epic. Oh, my God. And believe me, the part of me just says, you know what? Give up. Move out in the country and just wait for everything to unravel. I'm not going to do that. I've had 3 children. And you know what? I think I'm going to have more. I'm going to double down and bet on God. And I'm going to commit myself fully to fight these people. And I'm going to pray to Christ to give me the words and the intellect and the discernment I need and to control my anger, because I'm so upset at these people. I'm so mad knowing them, studying them, having to look at them, the psychopaths. I hate them. We all need to pray and get ready, because I'm going to go back to stigma when we come back in James and Ron. I've been holding for an hour. I've gone too long here. I apologize. It's just that all that matters is the species survive now and we not be taken over by this evil. I mean, my God, folks, the vets are on don't treat death list. We abort millions of children a year. We're killing the old people. I mean, the future is just hellish. The bioethics, disposable humans. I mean, human life's always been cheap. We're in the mopping up process. To understand, the decision's been made. And it's just like Chuck Norris said to his son, you know, you can get killed making this movie with Alex Jones and Gary Haven. And he meant that as a good thing, you know, you understand what you're getting into. But we're all going to die anyways and let innocence be taken over by evil if we don't fight back. What do I do when the SWAT team pulls up to force somebody to inoculate and there's not even a law? Well, the answer is you're not there when they show up. You make it hard. You go to a family's house. You go to another state. You engage in low-intensity information warfare, waking people up now in a campaign ahead of that to affect the future battle space. But then if the Civil War kicks off, or part of the Civil War, a precursor, and they're coming after you, you don't kick it off with their minions who they could care less about and who they want to make martyrs. You start identifying the power structure now, and you begin attacking them in the info war, letting them know they're being lazed and targeted. Just like special forces will mark a target first for what's coming in behind it. And that's all we're doing here is trying to have a peaceful discussion so the elite aren't totally insane, so we pull back from Armageddon, so we pull back from all this evil, but regardless, we know it's all coming on, so we make preparation. And you do that by engaging the enemy in the info war, and we're doing it. And you remember, they're not the authority. They don't have the power. They're losers. They signed up to a God who's a loser, who isn't a God at all. Their God is a fraud. Stigma, does that answer your question?
Yeah, you know, Alex, I feel like a piggy bank to my municipality, and, you know, I'm not necessarily worried about them forcibly inoculating. I'm worried about them coming grabbing the kids like they did in Kentucky. You know?
They were on Facebook. They were on Facebook showing their ideal life. And they unfriended somebody who then filed a report. And they saw 10 blonde-haired, blue-eyed kids. You can get $500,000 apiece for them. And so you do the math. That's $5 million. And so, and if you got a black-haired child with green eyes or blue eyes, there's quotas of up to $1 million on them. We had a state senator on who was about to expose it. They killed her 2 days before she was going to come on. Shot her in the back of the head at her house.
They are. They need to quit serving no-knock warrants for misdemeanors and civil infractions, and you know, if not, I think that they're taking a risk themselves.
Well, they prepared the SWAT teams with Daryl Gates and the CIA. It's declassified in the 60s and 70s as an thing going after terrorists or bank robbers. Well, yeah, big cities could have units like that. Now they have them for the most pettiest stuff, and it's death squads. It's an intimidation force. It's what horrible third world nations in North Korea have, and now we have it. But CPS warrior Nancy Schaefer gunned down. And remember, that was 5 years ago. Associated Press. Let's go to more calls. Ron, and then James, and then Smith and Luke. Ron, you're on the air. Welcome.
Hi, Alex. I do understand. Something happened in Vermont yesterday that helped put the puzzle together for me. You know, it's... the Jade Helm thing, you know, they're successfully demonizing groups. Cops versus the blacks in Ferguson. I'm not a cop, and I'm not black.
But you can see the artificial manipulation. People don't need to pick a side. They need to pull back and realize it's all bull.
If you could let me finish, you know, I'm neither of those. You know, when the BLM... went after the libertarians. I'm neither a rancher or a libertarian. I'm not a veteran. So when they, took their health care away, I didn't care. But yesterday Vermont took away the philosophical exemption. And this really strikes the mainstream population because it affects everyone. And, remember you said the DHS was getting targets of pregnant women. And, well, how can you put that together? Well, you know, when there were 300 of us at the state capitol giving testimony, you could see, you know, how juxtaposed the mothers were when they were giving testimony.
And they don't care if 98% of the people that show up in California or Vermont are against forced inoculation. They just do it. And yes, for those that don't know, Vermont just voted to get rid of philosophical exemptions, saying you're not smart enough to say no, you don't have free will. We're going to let Big Pharma force something into your body.
There was amendments, but it got defeated. But some senators actually wanted to jail people.
I know.
Who conveniently would lie to get on the religious exemption. And the one other thing...
But see, then they're going to phase out the religious. They're coming. I hear you, brother. You want to add something else? Go ahead.
Because GMO will allow them... They won't have to rely on fetal tissue any longer. They won't have to rely...
Let's not forget... We have the great radio/TV crew that also helps the Nightly News. There they are in there. We're going to cut to a feed of them doing a fabulous job as usual. And they have evil founding USA flags behind them. George Washington and the Don't Tread on Me and our own Molon Labe flag. I just realized we ought to put that gold on black flag and make a flag, a Molon Labe flag. A lot of those have Molon Labe flags that are a rifle or something, but how about with the Spartan helmet? Now, before we go any further, Anthony's got a bunch of really cool news, exciting positive news and some negative news on the whole Monsanto Roundup front and more. We'll be going to him in about 5-10 minutes, but I wanted to finish up with Ron, James, Lawrence Smith, and Luke. But here's the deal. I end up talking over the guests, and they talk, and then we make points. It's very spirited, good discussions. I got to get through these calls to get to the other news I haven't hit yet. Ron in Vermont, you're on the air. Finish up your point about them coming with the forced inoculations and wanting to have amendments. I saw that in the articles. I have it right here, to arrest people that don't go along with this. And then imagine, big companies make you take whatever they want, and they've got liability protection. A hellish recipe. So, yes, it is tyranny. But go ahead and finish your point, Ron.
Yes, can you hear me?
I sure can.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Catholics, take the religious exemption because aborted fetal tissue is used to grow some of these cultures. And again, the same is true for the Jewish community, where the gelatin in the vaccines are used from pig skin and hooves. But with GMO coming down the pike, you're going to see all of that done away with, and then there will be no more reason for a religious exemption.
No, you can just say that you, as a person with your experience with God, do not trust this, and that God's told you not to take it. But you can also just say common sense has told you not to take it. I know they've gotten rid of the religious exemption. You need to change those politicians. You need to get involved. You need to remove them. Every time a child gets hurt taking vaccines, everybody needs to put it on YouTube. We all have to be media activists, or we're going to lose everything. That's the thing. Thank you, Ron. They're coming for everybody's freedom now. The hammer's dropping. And I told you this 4 years ago, that we'd look ahead a few years and you wouldn't believe how insane it was. And then 2 years from now, you'll look back, this will be a great time. And then 10 years from now, it's going to be robot cars almost everywhere. 10 years. It's going to be the whole military, basically robots, but they'll still have human brigades that'll be celebrated, so you'll still have this ceremonial humans. So the public won't even know most of our military's robot. Already, most of the aircraft are. I mean, I've learned how the enemy operates. Autonomous, battleground robots, you name it. And they keep showing for 15 years, these different MIT robots that are just nothing, that run off lawnmowers and stuff. No. The real robots are submarines and jets and fighter bombers, and then they've got for decades, and I was told about classified stuff a long time ago by a colonel, and since then it all came out. Imagine a Ford F-150 Raptor, okay? I happen to know this is some of the stuff they've got. Imagine it's got a robot gun in the back that goes off of heat signatures, sound, you name it, 50 cal, can scan, shoot people for miles while it's driving. while it's driving, not aiming, not, you know, just boom, 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 boom. And then it looks like a joke. In fact, part of this came out in the Honolulu Advertiser or whatever it's called a few years ago. It showed one of these, quote, robot tanks. It was just really a truck. And it looked like a joke, like a kid drew it, but it was real. It had like 10 guns on the front.